This is the story of Sergeant Kalen and the paralyzed enemy queen he carried on his back across a war-torn world. He was hunted by his own kind for an act they saw as unforgivable treason, and hunted by hers for an act of unthinkable sacrilege. It's a story about how the greatest act of compassion can be born from the heart of the most savage war the galaxy has ever known. The war against the Thran had a simple, brutal rule: kill or be killed. For Sergeant Kalen, a 10-year veteran of the Galactic Marine Corps, that was the only truth left. And he was good at it. His armor was a roadmap of scars from 100 battles on a dozen different worlds. He'd seen friends vaporized in front of him and watched cities burn under the green glow of Thran plasma. The Thran were a swarm, faceless and relentless. There was no negotiation, no surrender, only total annihilation. The battle for Xylos was supposed to be the end of it all, a final, decisive blow. Humanity threw everything it had at the planet, ending with a seismic bombardment that shattered the main hive city into a maze of smoking ruins. Kalen's unit, the Vultures, was sent in for cleanup, a grim way of saying they had to execute any survivors. The orders couldn't have been clearer. No Thran gets left alive. It was in the middle of all that desolation that Kalen found her. His mission was to plan a charge at the hive's central nerve cluster, deep underground. But the bombardment had torn the planet apart in ways no one had predicted. He fell through a fissure in the planet's crust, landing in a chamber that had somehow survived the destruction. This wasn't a barracks or a birthing pod. It was a sanctuary. Soft, glowing plants cast an ethereal light on walls that looked like they were carved from pure obsidian. And there, on a platform in the center, lay the Thran Queen. She looked nothing like the monster drones he fought on the surface. She was elegant, almost regal, with a pearlescent shell and delicate, still limbs. Golden, biological wires snaked from her body into the platform, but they were all severed, sparking faintly. A piece of falling debris had pierced her spine, paralyzing her. But she was alive. Kalen felt it, not with his eyes, but in his mind. It was a silent, piercing scream of pure agony, confusion, and a terrifying, soul-crushing loneliness. In that instant, he understood. The chaos on the surface, the Thran drones suddenly fighting with mindless fury, even attacking each other. It was because their center was gone. The hive mind was broken. The Queen, their shared consciousness, was trapped in her own dying body, and her children had gone mad. His radio crackled. "Kalen, report. Evac is green. We are glassing the entire continent in 20 mics. Get out now." His orders were simple. One shot would end her. But as he looked at this impossibly fragile creature, he didn't see an enemy. He saw the key, the only key, in a war that offered nothing but death. He saw a tiny chance for life. He unslung his rifle, but not to shoot. Instead, he started the painstaking work of freeing her from the broken platform, creating a makeshift harness to carry her on his back. He was deserting. He was committing treason, and he was their only hope. The journey started in silence, with only the crunch of rubble under Kalen's boots and the distant thunder of the orbital bombardment he was meant to be escaping. The Queen was a dead weight on his back, a constant, heavy reminder of the choice he'd made. He didn't have a destination, just a vague, desperate hope pulled from an old intelligence briefing. The Thran had sacred sites, places humming with psionic power. He was betting both their lives that one was close enough to reach. The first threat didn't come from the enemy, but from his own side. On the second day, hiding in the shell of a wrecked transport, he watched a Vulture squad pass by. It was his squad. He heard his own name on their comms, but he wasn't a comrade anymore. He was a target. Sergeant Kalen is AWOL, presumed compromised. Hostile action is authorized. He saw the face of a man he'd shared rations with just yesterday, his expression now hard with betrayal. To them, Kalen had gone native. He was a traitor carrying the enemy's heart on his back. The second threat was everywhere. The feral Thran drones, cut off from their queen, were a storm of pure instinct. They swarmed the blasted landscape, their clicking mandibles and screeches a symphony of madness. They didn't recognize their own queen. All they saw was a vulnerable creature and the human predator carrying it. More than once, Kalen had to fight them off, his rifle spitting fire into the very species he was trying to save. He was a strange shepherd, protecting his flock from itself. It was during one of these frantic fights that something changed. Pinned down by two massive Thran warriors, Kalen's heat sink blew. His rifle was useless. As one of the drones lunged, a sharp, sudden image flared in his mind. A crack in the rock face above him, a perfectly balanced boulder. It wasn't his thought. It was hers. A desperate, focused idea from the silent passenger on his back. Without thinking, he fired his sidearm at the rock. The boulder crashed down, crushing the drones. He stood there panting, his mind reeling. She had just saved him. From then on, their journey was different. They still couldn't speak, but they were communicating. She'd send him flashes of warning, the glint of a sniper's scope on a distant ridge, the tremor of unstable ground, the location of a hidden spring with clean water. In return, he protected her. He shielded her from acid rain with his own body and shared his tiny rations, dissolving nutrient paste in water and carefully feeding it to her. He started talking to her, his voice a low rumble in the endless quiet. He told her about his home, about the rain on his family's farm, about how pointless this whole war felt. He started calling her Thea. He didn't know if she understood a word, but he felt her silent, constant presence in his mind, a little flicker of warmth in the cold darkness. He wasn't just carrying a key anymore. He was protecting a person, and through her gentle psionic nudges, he found his destination, a spire of crystalline rock, humming with an energy he could feel in his bones. The nexus. The nexus was a breathtaking sight. A single, colossal crystal pulsed with a soft inner light, singing a low note that vibrated right through Kalen's soul. It was a place of power, a place of healing. But they weren't the first ones there. Waiting at the entrance was a human Black Ops team, their armor sleek and unmarked, their rifles aimed right at him. And leading them was his old commander, Major Thorn. Sergeant Kalen. Thorn's voice was ice. All the old camaraderie was gone. By order of Galactic Command, you're under arrest for treason. Surrender the asset. Now. She's not an asset, Major. Kalen shot back, gently shifting Thea on his back. She's the end of the war. Thorn actually laughed, a harsh, grating sound. You're insane. You've doomed us all. That thing you're carrying is the reason we're in this mess. We're here to finish the job you failed to do. Just then, a new sound arose, a chittering, screeching roar that grew from a whisper to a deafening wave. From the canyons all around the nexus, a sea of feral Thran appeared, a writhing tide of black chitin, all drawn by the site's immense power. They were cornered, trapped between the cold logic of human military orders and the mindless fury of a broken hive. The world exploded. The Black Ops team opened fire on the Thran swarm, but for every drone that fell, 3 more scrambled over its body. Kalen ran. He sprinted for the heart of the nexus, knowing he had to get Thea to that central crystal. Thorn screamed his name, his curses lost in the noise of battle. A stray plasma bolt hit Kalen in the leg. He cried out, but didn't fall. He just pushed onward, running on pure adrenaline and willpower. Another shot grazed his side, a sickening heat spreading across his torso. He was dying, but he was almost there. The central crystal was just feet away, its light and sound overwhelming him. With the last of his strength, he unstrapped the harness and gently, almost reverently, placed the queen into the glowing heart of the nexus. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, a wave of pure, white energy erupted from the crystal, expanding in a silent, unstoppable dome across the battlefield. It wasn't an explosion. It was a thought. A single, clear, powerful word that echoed, not in their ears, but in their minds. In the minds of Kalen, of Major Thorn, and of every single Thran drone, the message was the same. Enough. The feral Thran stopped instantly, their rage replaced by a sudden calm. Major Thorn and his soldiers lowered their weapons, their faces masks of stunned disbelief. The war, in a single, silent moment, was over. Kalen lay bleeding at the foot of the crystal, his mission done. He watched as Thea, her body now whole and glowing with light, rose from the nexus. Her psionic voice, now gentle and powerful, washed over him. You saved us, Kalen of Terra. You carried the hope of 2 species on your back. The war was over, but the fight for peace was just beginning. Kalen became a controversial figure, a traitor to some, a savior to others. But under the protection of the Thran Queen, who now led her people not as a weapon, but as a voice for understanding, he was safe. The galaxy had been changed forever, not by a bomb or a treaty, but by the stubborn, illogical compassion of a single soldier who refused to see a monster and chose to see a person instead. A new era had begun, built on the wild idea that even in the darkest of wars, you could build a bridge, one painful step at a time. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the worlds of science fiction. Let us know in the comments below. Do you think Kalen was a hero or a traitor? We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching.